In terms of interviewing for a job position, I think your first thing is your resume. It needs to be clear, without any spelling mistakes, formatted. Make sure it's looked at by 10 different people from 10 different industries, even if you're only focused in the education industry. And listen to their opinions, listen to where they're coming from, because it does make an impact. Your resume is your story. Don't make it 6 pages either, because nobody really has time for that. 2 pages maximum. If you're a new teacher, it wouldn't be longer than 1 page. When I was interviewing candidates, it was with a panel of other teachers and admin staff, which was great because more often than not, interviews now do take 2 to 3 rounds, and it's usually in a panel just to ensure that everybody's in sync with one another. I found that candidates, some candidates just came in because they wanted a job. And that was pretty evident in the way they sat, in the way they just engaged with the panel. And in terms of saying, yes, I'm looking for security, and yes, you know, this is where I see myself, and, you know, I like children, and I've been a tutor, and I'm like, okay, but in a classroom, when you are faced with, you know, 6 different groups of ability, how would you manage that? Okay. I'm sure that's been, you know, shared and discussed in school, because it was when we were growing, so, or when we were back in university. So, you know, what strategies would you use? How would you help? You know, or how would you cater to that? Would it be a half-half? Would it be a video lesson for half and then an on task for half? So even though we were feeding answers, the candidate was stuck. In contrast, a new candidate might turn around and say, you know what, that's a really interesting question. I actually don't have the answer for it, but based on my experience, I would think that I could do X, Y, and Z. So they're honest about not having their skills, but they're willing to put themselves out there to try, which shows us, hang on, there's somebody we can work with. And that's important. Yeah, somebody who's open-minded about it and willing to work. And of course, you know, if somebody is saying that they're so great in everything, well, then what are your weaknesses? Where does that come in? Because we're all vulnerable. As teachers, we put ourselves out there every day. And like I said, we're not perfect. And neither are the students. But together, we create something beautiful. So that's the ultimate goal, right? And that's how I see it. So when I look at candidates, I'm quite critical about what they can bring to the institution.